Hey, welcome to Vinny the Axe. Today we're going to be talking about the Hudson Sidecar Overdrive. So sit down, relax, grab yourself something to drink, and here we go.
Okay, here's the clean signal coming out of the Tone King Gremlin. No effects engaged. You might see lights on the NRG per, but that's just the status light of which side is active when it's on. This is the on switch, that's off. So dry signal is a slight breakup with the Tone King. It's attenuated down about 3/4 of the way, so it's about a quarter power. Now I'm playing through a Kiesel CS3 mahogany Les Paul style guitar with beryllium pickups, which is more of like a PAF flavored pickup. All right, so let's engage the sidecar. So you have 4 controls. You have drive, treble, bass, and level. Now, what's interesting on this particular pedal is that there's the numbers are so tiny I can barely even see where the settings are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play it the way I have it set for right this second, and then I'll mess with it. So I'm going to take the gain down a little bit, or the drive, I should say, same thing. And I'll let you hear as I just hit the E string. That's maxed out. That's maxed out all the way. This is about a quarter of the way up, let's say, or halfway up. Let me back it off a little bit more. So as we bring this up, I usually try to set it so that it starts to get that little high-end fizz, and I stop it there. Right about there. I can bring it up more, max it all the way out. You'll hear some, obviously, gain noise getting introduced into the signal, but, nothing nutty. Here we go. Gets a little mushy there, in my opinion, so I like to, again, because I can't see the numbers with my aging eyes, because these knobs are probably not the best. I'll talk about those in a second, but I'll bring it up till I start to hear the little bit of rasp right there, and that usually sounds good for my end. Now the treble control, I'll back it all the way off. Notice I didn't have much of it on there. This is maxed out. Back it off just a hair. And then the bass control. not too bad. And then obviously the level. I just go for unity gain, really. I'm not going crazy. Let's try that. The cool thing about this pedal is that it takes boost overdrive really, really well. So if I hit it with the NRG purr on the Happy Cat side, it'll tighten it up a little bit and actually give it more gain. So if I wanted to play a little bit, maybe more modern sounding. So it does take so now the amp I'm playing through obviously is not designed for metal, but you get the gist of that. Focus is actually on the sidecar, but I'll put some reverb on so you can hear what it sounds like with the Flint reverb. Now I'll introduce a little bit of delay with the DD8.
So what do I think about the Hudson Sidecar in the end here? Well, I think it's probably one of the better overdrives I've ever purchased in the last 30 plus years. I think it sounds really natural. I like how it adds gain to the amplifier I'm using when the gain is pretty much maybe maxed out all the way. I'm playing through a Fender style amplifier, and it's really not made for 80s rock or metal. With respects to the amp, it sounds awesome. Just not for that, but what the sidecar does is it kind of adds additional gain, and it sounds natural. When I mean additional gain, it sounds like the amp's gain stage can continue on like it was already wired into the head itself, and the preamp is made like that. It has a very, very natural sound, and I've tried it on a few different amps, and it's pleasing on all of them. So it's not like really a finicky pedal where sometimes that marriage between amp and pedal just doesn't work out. And I have a few pedals that are like that. They work with some amps they won't jive with. This one seems to jive with pretty much everything I've put it on so far, so I really like that. A couple of cons about it is it can be noisy if you have the gain maxed out all the way, so I try not to do that. So you're probably gonna need a noise gate if you're gonna play live with it, depending on how much gain you're really driving. The other thing is the knobs. The knobs are something else, and I know they can be changed. So hear me out. There's twofold to this. So it could be a pro or a con. So the numbers on the knobs are so tiny, and the silver around there, I can't tell you where they're set at all whatsoever. I would probably have to put on my reading glasses and get in the prone position, and have my face probably a couple inches away from it with the flashlight to even tell you where they're at. Now, this could be liberating if you're the OCD guitar player, and a lot of us, I think, I don't know, maybe we are. I don't know if we all are, but maybe you could write that in the comments. But if you're one of the ones who has a hard time not having things lined up, and so a person like that usually hates when the EQ knobs are past like the 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock position on the dial, and we kind of think like, hey, why does it, something's wrong if I have to turn the treble almost 3/4 of the way up, or the bass 3/4 of the way up, or something's wrong with this, gain stage or EQ or whatever. There's guitar players out there that doesn't bother them at all, but there is a bunch of us, and I don't know what the syndrome's called. I'm going to make it up at some point, maybe talk about it in a video. I'm going to make up my own thing, but some of us have a problem with that. This negates that. So you can't tell where it's set. So you turn the knobs. That's what I turn the knobs till it sounds right, and I just play. Now, that being said, if you were playing live with this thing, the potentiometers on this thing are nice and smooth, but they get knocked really easy when you put it in the case or move it around. Or hell, I've changed a couple pedals on the board, and every time I've changed pedals on this board, I've knocked into that thing somehow, and it's been off, and I've had to go back and readjust. So if you're playing live at a gig, I would suggest you either mark these knobs or just go buy different knobs that have indicators. Save these in the box if you're like that, and just move on from there. As guitar players, we love to see other famous guitar players and their pedals and go, oh, how they have that set. Oh, their knob is here. But you know what? Who's to say the person at the factory that put the little knob on with the set screw didn't have it exactly in the right spot to zero when they put the pedal together, right? Or are the pedal made out of the same components? Plus, the famous guys playing through a completely different rig at a different volume, a different place, and the hell with all that. I mean, we don't have time in life to really mess with that. And a lot of guitarists do, believe me. They want to know exactly how that pedal sounds or set, to get that sound. And the truth is, you probably will never get that sound. You get close, but you won't get there because that guy sounds like that guy. And that's just the way it is. And you sound like you. And unfortunately, I sound like me. And that's just the way it is, man. But so there's a twofold with this thing. You either like it that you can't see the settings and you just do it to taste, which is nice because you're learning to EQ the pedal not based on where the knob is set, but based on the sound of what you're hearing. The bad thing could be if you're playing gigs and that thing gets moved, you won't even know it's moved. So I would suggest just changing the knobs out. It's not a big deal. I just figured I'd throw that out there. However, the pedal sounds great. I know I did it with an iPhone, with the iPhone internal mic. I don't know how to do the computer thing. And then if I do the computer thing with the microphone, it's not going to sound like it sounds in the room. It's going to sound like a totally polished off, processed thing. And I still believe that a lot of us just sit in a room and jam. So take it for what it is. But the pedal sounds pretty damn good. Oh, by the way, this is the guitar I was using. This is the Kiesel. It's CS3. It's all mahogany, maple cap. It's pretty much like a Les Paul, with a lot of respects to Gibson. But a couple cool things about it is it does have a tummy cut. It's a very minor one, which is nice. And this has the beryllium pickups in it, like I said earlier, and more of like a PAF style pickup. It's got some black binding, and this is in their vintage, I think vintage white or vintage cream or whatever you want to call it. It's a killer guitar, really is. Ebony board, and mother of pearl inlay, and it's abalone logo at the headstock. Great guitar, really stable, stainless steel frets, really stable, and it's got a good weight to it, and it just plays really good. It's a really nice guitar. Other than that, man, I got nothing else going on today. But if you have any questions, please put them down in the comment thing down there, and subscribe and like if you can. I'm trying to get this channel built up from the infant stages and to the moon. So we'll see how that goes, and I can appreciate your help. Thanks a lot. Well, anyway, this is Vinny the Axe. I'm signing off, and take it easy.